Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, May 2nd. I'm Jane Johnson with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosa. Welcome to the Victoria Real Estate Show with...
Oh, hey, everybody. It's Andrew Plank with Royal LePage.
How you doing?
I don't know what accent that was. It wasn't really one. I'm doing good. You?
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
I'm doing good.
Stop. Okay.
How has your week been?
Really, really busy. Yeah, just hopping around, getting listings ready, getting buyers into properties, showing properties, making offers, making backup offers, getting offers released, getting offers unconditional, changing dates. Yeah, standard fare.
I'm finding right now that, first of all, I highly recommend people do the backup offer because I'm finding that buyers are rescinding, maybe because there's more choice. I don't know, but there's
rescinding using the rescission period rescinding, or just pulling out in general?
Just pulling out in general.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
So
it's interesting because at our recent sales meeting, Peter DeMeo, who does he's a lawyer in town, does regular talks at our offices, talks at many of the offices, but he was talking about how backup offers, you have to be obviously you do have to be very careful with backup offers, but he was actually suggesting that he really doesn't like them and thinks that they're not a good idea, which is interesting. I think it can get, you can get into situations where you've sold the property twice as a seller, if you're not really careful about the language in the contract. And then there's also the whole question of, if there is a question, if the first buyer does want to change dates or get an extension to the contract, the question becomes, is the original contract changed in such a substantial way that the first offer comes into play? And then there's an argument that two people could be arguing that they both bought the property. It's not about what is actually clearly legal or not. It's about whether there's a legal argument for one or the other. And that's where you get into hot water, because of course, then people, lawyers are always arguing about different opinions. So if it's not black and white and super clear, it's dangerous.
It's so interesting because I got a backup offer on a property, but they did write that we couldn't do any extensions into their clause and we couldn't do amendments and all that stuff. And then the first offer collapsed, and I'm finding that so often these days. So anyway, I've had buyers walk away. Second buyer does an offer, walk away. First buyer comes back.
Mm-hmm. People have second thoughts. I had buyers, we had gotten to the point of offer, counter offer, counter offer. And one client signed acceptance on the counter offer. Then the signing just hung that night. And I was like, what's going on? And I called them and they said, we've decided not to accept. They'd said they were going to accept. I was like, oh, okay. And then of course the place sold after they'd had second thoughts about not buying it. And so now we're making, now we've got under contract on a similar property. It's in a condo building, but yeah, it's funny just where these things, it's an emotional process for people, right? And it's hard sometimes to make that full commitment to buying something.
So you were the buyer agent?
I was the buyer agent.
Okay, yeah.
They got cold feet at the last minute. Yeah.
It says a lot to intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation, honestly, because if you have an agent who's pushy, I'm not saying you're pushy, but if you have an agent who's pushy, they can push people into writing an offer, and then the buyer's like, I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, and then they're more likely to pull out after, which causes more angst and concern for everyone. I'd rather know up front and, just make sure everybody's aligned. But that comes from communication more than sales. Some people think sales is persuasion, and you and I understand that sales is communication and understanding. Once you understand what somebody wants and needs, then it's not hard to help them achieve their goals. So
yeah, exactly.
As long as those are reasonable.
Okay, you ready to do the show part?
Are we going to do a show? Yeah, let's do a show.
All right. So welcome everybody. We're doing a monthly market update for April. This is May 2nd. So by the way, if you find this information interesting, please like and share it. If you know somebody who is going through change in their life and they need to know about real estate, now's the time for you to introduce us. Don't forget to comment too about information you want to hear about. Any questions?
Please do comment and stay engaged, and join the conversation, because it's fun with two-way and three-way when we have Jen, but join the conversation. We can get it going a lot more interesting as well.
All right, take it away, buddy. Last 7 days.
Yeah, so we're going to talk last 7 days, but we also have the monthly stats, correct?
Yes.
We're going to do the monthly stat update. Yes, yay, right, of course. So 392 new listings went live in the last week. 170 went pending, so a little less than half. 166 price decreases, almost on par with the pending properties. So again, that's a pretty interesting stat to be seeing. People really, really tuning up their pricing. 3 price increases, 5 back on market, 290 properties transacted. One is transacting today of mine. 76 properties expired unsold, and 7 properties were withdrawn. Now, if we contrast that with last week, actually, pardon me, last month, month ago, we had 307 new listings go live versus the 392 we had this week. So we had 125 properties go pending versus 170. The price decreases were a little less in the ratio. It was 86 price decreases versus 166 this month, this past week. 182 properties sold, 90 properties expired. So it's more properties expired last month than this month in the week's period. Cat keeps trying to drink my smoothie. Got to keep moving it away. It's like playing a fun little game. Here, you want some? No.
So
really like smoothies. Sorry.
So just looking at the difference in ratio, we went from 40% to 43% list to sale ratio, and we had more sales happening this past month. The changes last month, I think, were due to the fact people were coming back from Easter. So
yeah, I think the after Easter is what really is, and it's really taken off in the after Easter. And I think there's also this built up question of what's going to happen with interest rates at the next announcement in June. And I think the smart people are trying to get ahead of it. At some point, rates are going to come down. We are very expectant of that. It may not be in June, but it will happen. And once that happens, the going expectation is that prices will at that point bump up. So,
interesting. I have clients, 2 sets of clients who are investors, and they've been watching the market and they're like, I want to start investing in property. So, there's the old adage, buy when other people are trying to sell when other people are trying to buy. So they've sensed that we're near the bottom of the falling knife, I guess would be a good way to say it. Anyway, let's look at stats. So year over year for the month of May, April, we were at 678. I've been looking at a lot of stats this morning, and I see we're actually quite on par with where we've been over the last 2 years. So 678 for April of 2024. That's up from April 2023 of 637 and up from last month of 590. So that's good. 588. And then new listings were at 1,620 for a total of, drum roll, over 3,000 active listings. That's up from April of 2023 when we were at 1,036 last year. And then last month we were at 1,300. So 1,620 new listings. That's pretty good for a total of 3,017.
Okay.
Whoa!
I'm trying to pull up the screen here. Just a sec here. Let me share a screen because I was curious about the stats that were released, and I just want to talk to you about this, Jane. This is unscripted. Not that anything here is scripted.
Hi, Owen, Stacy. Saw you yesterday. Okay,
Did Owen make a
it
comment?
popped on. Okay. Oh,
Popped
yes.
on. So our real estate board releases stats, and we pull some of our stats from here, of course, but they also do a little write-up. And I was curious because it's the first paragraph says a total of 678 properties sold in Victoria region across April, 6.4% more than the 637 properties sold in April of 2023 and 15.3% increase from March 2024. Then it says sales of condominiums were up 1.5% from April 2023. And it says sales of single family homes were up 3.7%. So I don't understand how they get a 15% increase in sales when condos were only up 1.5% and family homes were only up 3.7%.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong here? Or am I reading this way wrong?
Okay, so the 15.3% is from March, and the sales of condos, et cetera, were from April.
So a month
So
difference.
we had a slow spring, and we're picking up. Comparatively, over last year, we're not that much further ahead. So you're confusing the years. They're confusing
well,
the
okay,
years.
6.4% then, more
Yeah.
than April of 2023. But in April of 2023, it was only 1.5% of single family of condos and 3.7% of single family homes. It still shouldn't add up to 6.4.
They're
That
not
means
they're not
townhouses were
including.
carrying the weight.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Anyway.
Alrighty.
No.
So next stat, Andrew, go ahead.
This is a squiggle drawn by my children.
This goes on.
I'm sorry, you
My
really don't like doing
newsletter,
these.
Andrew.
This goes on your. This is why you get the business and I don't. So we can see that there's seasonal cycles, folks, and the active MLS listings coming up on market generally increase over the spring, reach a peak into the summer. Sometimes they go further into the fall. But the active MLS listings coming up on, well, not just coming up on market, but this is representing listings coming on market and the actual inventory of listings on market at any one time. So we are definitely up higher than we have been in a few years. And that trajectory looks like it's an accelerating trajectory off on the far right. So every month we are seeing more and more listings. As we get more and more listings, we get more and more supply. As we have more supply, the demand won't be able to keep up with it. So at some point, perhaps we will see well, prices are already fairly level. But that being said, I do anticipate, and I'm experiencing a lot of buyer demand, and I think with the lower interest rate environment, we're going to see this numbers. It'll start to mow these down a bit. Jane, your thoughts on that?
So just this morning on my walk, I was thinking I'm listing heavy. I feel like I felt in, I think, 2009, where I was carrying about 18 listings. I'm carrying about 12 right now, and I feel a bit heavy on the listing side. It's definitely, I think, a good idea to have a lot of buyers in your pocket because there's choice out there. That being said, the lull that we're experiencing right now with buyers not feeling a lot of urgency. And yesterday I did an analysis for some clients who were in Oak Bay and Victoria and just looking at list to sale ratios and seeing that there was a gap, that buyers are coming in lower and they're getting money off. It was between 25 and 50,000 off per property. So that was good, but there was still a lot of choice. So I'm just going to say, don't wait. If you find the property that you like, then I think you're going to experience right now probably less competition than you are in the near future. So
yeah,
you're going to save money.
Yeah, and the thing is, when when the market's going up and you know it's a pretty safe bet to buy because you're confident that your place you're buying is going to be worth more soon, it's because there's a lot of buyer demand, and it means there's not a lot of supply or choice. And if you don't have a lot of choice, you're buying a home that may appreciate in value, but you're not getting the choice of your ideal home. So when there's a lot of supply to choose from, and this is when buyers seem to be the least motivated, it's when they have the best chance of finding the best home for them for the long term. And I
Yeah.
find consistently it's when buyers are the least motivated to actually buy something, which is honestly a little frustrating, actually. But yeah, because I want clients to find the best possible home for themselves, and they hum and haw and wait, and then the market kicks up, and they realize that they're not going to have an opportunity to buy at the price point they were originally thinking, and then they make a decision to buy something out of sort of panic as opposed to
Yeah.
choice.
Well, so what'll happen is right now we've shifted. So if we go to the next graph, you can see the ratios of this is what Andrew is explaining here. So I don't know if you can see my mouse. I can see my mouse, but we're basically seeing less than a 50% list to sale ratio. So all the properties are going on, and more are coming on than are selling. That's what you need to know. And you can see we've had a slow spring here. We haven't really had the peak in the spring market that we normally have. Feels like it's been busier over the last week or two for me, and we're kind of, I would say, like, this is exactly how it feels. We're on a pulse, and we get
It's
busy.
interesting. Yeah. Sorry, Jane. Go finish your thought.
No, but I just that the inventory now is reaching higher levels than we've seen in probably 5 or 6 years. So we're building up the inventory. So buyers, when they go to view properties, if they have 10 properties they want to see now, they can probably see all 10, maybe 9. Whereas, during COVID, we could see 1 out of 10. So that's a big difference. That's the feeling of urgency, is whether or not there's availability.
Yeah. So I'm looking at these, the line, not the bar graph here, but the line graph within that bar graph. And you can see the number of sales going up and down over time. It reached a peak in May of 2023 and then started going down again. And in April of 2022, it was already on a downslide. We can't see further back than that on this graph, but it was already on a downslide. So currently, and you can see it kind of hits a peak and then starts down again. I suspect that we are still on a rising peak, though, and we're going to have May and possibly even June, because of the question around the interest rates, where we're going to continue to see the buyer activity continuing up. Jane, what do you think on that? Given that there is this annual buyer activity that relates to the sales, obviously. That relates to the number of listings. But
I feel like our year has been shifted. Like, usually I'm really busy. I'm about 50% of where I am at this time of year normally in terms of sales with clients. And I feel like we've shifted maybe 2 or 3 months later. Feels like we've just been building up inventory, and the sales have remained relatively low. So, like, during COVID, they were at 800. Do you remember that fall? It was 800, 800, 800. Now we're at 400, 500. That's not a lot of sales happening at this particular time of year. So I feel like we're just kind of everyone's been holding their breath, waiting for the interest rates to come down. And I'm thinking, over the long term, it's the price of the house that matters over the interest rate. So,
right.
You're going to pay, there must be some study. Let's say you pay 800,000 for something right now at 5%, and the rates go down to 4.75%, and you pay 850. The difference.
And if your monthly payment remains the same, but you've actually paid more for the house at a lower interest rate, you're better off paying less for the house at a higher interest rate, because interest rates are going to average out to be lower, and you're going to be better off over the long run. Plus, it's easier just to pay down that principal and have an effect on your mortgage as well.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I,
$1 million home, sorry, a $2 million home at 0% interest versus a $1 million home at 5% interest probably ends up costing you the same amount of money over the course of a mortgage term if you were to pay it off over 25 years. But obviously, you're better off having the option to pay off your mortgage sooner at the $1 million mark at the 5% interest.
mhm. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I tell my clients, my buyers, don't wait because you're just going to put yourself, I think, in a worse spot. It's going to be very competitive. It still is competitive for houses under 1 million right now. I've been going with clients. We've been looking at everything.
Highly.
I think I went to your old rental property or the place next door to it the other day, and I was like, I was thinking, how the
Oh,
market has changed.
on Spring Ridge
Yeah,
in Glenford? Yeah, I might actually have something coming up in that area.
let me
Yeah,
know about it.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is what that ratio looks like. So we've gone from a heavy seller's market in 2022 to a medium seller's market in May of 2023, and we're heading into a balanced market now.
Hmm.
So they say around 30% you're in a balanced market,
Yeah,
20 to
yeah,
30%.
yeah,
So for every home that's listed, every 3 home that's listed, 1 is selling right now.
yeah.
Okay. So I went to another program to just sort of look at whether or not what I'm perceiving is actually happening. So the month supply of inventory is 5.41 month. That's over that's higher from last month. Last month it was 4.24. So our inventory is going
Mhm.
up. And yeah, closed over the last 12 months. So that number is high because it's higher than in March because we're talking April of last year. Um, and so we've had 13,000. And looking at the number of properties, looking at year over year,
Mm.
actually, we're fairly even compared to last year. But the inventory, this is for the greater Victoria and Vancouver Island, um, our inventory is high at.
It looks like there's something amiss there because if you've got end of month active inventory at 2007 for last month, we haven't had 3,800 listings
No,
come
I
on.
I think I think actually the stats. No, this should be for Greater Victoria. I don't know. This is what
Yeah.
I pulled
Okay.
from exposure.
Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
we see the month supply of inventory. That's really the point I want to make, that it is going
Yeah.
up. So if you're looking at selling your house, you're looking at longer days on market is what you need to know. Go ahead.
Yeah, and things still sell, folks. Like, people are making those price reductions though, and they are getting, tighter with their, sharper pencils. And it's all a matter again of, if you sell for a certain amount and the market is, softer than you anticipated, it's probably softer for your purchase as well if you're buying and selling in that same market. So this stat shows the average sales price of single family homes in the Greater Victoria area, and it is comes off of a peak of almost 1,450,000 back in April 2022. At least that's the peak showing on this graph. Reached another peak of June 2023. Maybe it was just under 1.4 million. Currently, we are just under 1.3 million for the average sale price, and month over month, it's come down just a little bit on average price. So we're kind of in a bit of a slightly falling price environment, but more than likely, I would think it's more like a staying stable price environment.
Yeah. It feels like it's pretty steady
Yeah,
over the past 2
and
years.
different areas are experiencing different levels of interest. I'm working with buyers for Fairfield, Oak Bay area. It's been really hard to find any inventory, and prices there feel pretty inflated versus not inflated, but high versus when you could buy much newer home in the West Shore. And when my clients, and I'm starting to experience this again, where clients are saying, well, let's go see what we can see a little further afield. And their eyes are opened like super wide. They're like, oh my gosh, this is night and day from the old tired condo I'm looking at or that old house I'm looking at. I've got water views potentially. I've got near potentially like the Royal Bay area. There's been a lot of buyer interest of mine lately in the Royal Bay area, as they're kind of recognizing that development is starting to flesh out and seeing the vision there, and how far your money will go versus some of the areas in Victoria.
I think I sold the very first house in Royal Bay for 500 and something, 525,000. And
Wow.
now it's probably worth 1.1, just under.
Mm-hmm.
And the person moved.
Do they want to sell?
No. But you know, it's interesting. So, tale of two listings on Caspian. We were going to market last fall. We figured the listing was 1.1. We were doing some research this spring. We saw our neighbor was at 1.089. So we decided to list at 1.085. This is why you really want to not decide what the list price is until the very moment that you go to market, because you really want to see what else is out there. How am I faring? Let's pick this price. So so the person whose house we went, they went down to 1.065 or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, we've just, lost $20,000 in equity, because you're really, when you have houses that are very similar, like in a condo building, if there's one that's less expensive, they bring the average of everybody else down. Anyway, at the end of the day, they got a subject to sale offer. So their property was tied up at $1,065,000. And I guess the buyers didn't go in, who came to our property. And we ended up negotiating full price offer, $20,000 at asking.
It can make $20,000 is not a huge difference on that kind of price point. And just, outlook in the property, a little bit of difference in condition, interior, slight difference in floor plan could make the difference in the preference that somebody has for that property. Certainly, there's some cookie cutter floor plans out there, but you can definitely, I viewed all the available inventory at the time, and I'm going out again today. And, there are homes there that are just a couple of years old that are really well used. And there's other homes that, they've been better landscaped, or the basement's been slightly finished, or there's just some differences that can account for some difference in price. Definitely orientation to the sun.
Or an unfinished basement. Asking
some
the
people
same.
Prefer that.
Yeah. Anyway,
if it's been finished in a way that somebody doesn't want it finished, then the unfinished basement is actually more flexible for some people.
I do find, sorry, I clicked on that. I do find Royal Bay is getting a lot of activity, very popular now with people, and they did a good job of planning with the parks. And as you're saying, like literally it's flushing out the plants, and the trees are growing, and it's looking more mature. And I think it's going to be a very attractive area. There's some beautiful homes by Trumpeter, which are nice. I'm trying to think of the Verity Construction. And then there's Cablecraft as well. So 2 different developers in there right now.
Yeah. And then there's there's also the new condos coming in, and there was this announcement about that one. So there's a new condo development going in, and there's going to be some, views and community amenities in the buildings and so forth. So it's going to be a great walkable neighborhood near the beach, and the walkway down to the lagoon. So it may take some years. And there's also talk, although I don't know how they're going to do this, but there's talk of putting a sort of a sea bus type of service to downtown Victoria. But the sea bus in Vancouver is in a protected harbor. I don't think you're going to want everybody turning green and seasick. It might be a fair weather bus service, but I don't imagine it's going to be a.
I don't know where they can park people either for that, but anyway, I like it's too open there. And that especially in the winter, it gets the brunt of the southeasterlies.
So don't expect that, folks.
Don't expect that. Okay, so average price of condos over 2 years, we were at 850. We're now, 675. We're now at 600. And the reason for that is we have had change in rules. You can see when the announcement was made at the end of last year, there's been a bit of a lowering in the average price, and there's more choice. And definitely I'm seeing former Airbnbs going on the market, which are lovely condos, by the way, in downtown Victoria. I really feel sorry for those people who invested in those.
I think I just think it's criminal what happened, because there was that was a legal use, illegal non-conforming, but still a legal use, and people had bought and made plans based on that. And I don't think it makes a significant difference to the amount of rentals out there, and yet it has really harmed a number of people's financial situations. So I'm not a fan.
The other
Anyway,
thing is there are a whole bunch of people who are moving from house to house who need a place to stay. Like
exactly. We in our real estate groups, we're often, people are often posting, hey, clients have sold their home, they need a place for a month before they move into their next home, and that ability to fill that gap has just really diminished now. But anyway, we won't go down that road.
Okay.
We don't want to. Yeah. As we always say, townhouses pricing jumps around a little bit more. It's there's less sales on average than there is for condos or houses. So the average price tends to bump around if there are some outlier sales of higher, low-priced townhouses. But in general, you can see they've come off a peak of around 950 back in 2 years ago. And they've actually, I would say from about April 2023, they were relatively steady, other than a drop in January and December of 2023, 2024. But that's bounced right back up. So we've been consistently for the last, since February of 2023, kind of averaging somewhere in the 8 to 850, currently around 850 range, just under 850.
Yeah, and I have a great priced townhome. It's 2-bedroom on Nelthorpe, by the way, at 629.9.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
Speaking of
Which,
have you got
well, I've
any?
already talked. Yeah, I definitely have someone looking for. I've got somebody looking for a fixer-upper, not a fixer-upper, actually more of a non-fixer-upper, but very inexpensive investment property. So it could be 2 bedrooms, 1 bath on a small lot. I've also got someone looking similar, different reason, but similar configuration, under 750, I would say, looking for a single family or half duplex in the core. 2 bed, 1 bath is fine. Also in the West Shore, someone also looking for something like that, but with room for parking a boat and a trailer and a storage trailer.
What's the price?
I've got folks looking up to probably under 750.
Well, show them Nelthorpe.
We've got a backup offer on a place on Souk Road, and we're waiting to see how that goes. I've got, definitely looking for something in the West Shore. In the West Shore, somewhere around Royal Bay would be nice. Newer construction would be great. We've got somebody who's starting to kick around looking for something near a park in the Cordova Bay area with a nice great room kind of concept, vaulted ceilings and so on. That would be up to 1.617, maybe higher. Definitely still looking in the Oak Bay. I'm going to be showing one today, Oak Bay, Fairfield area, up to 2 million for a family home with 3 bedrooms. They've softened a bit on 3 bedrooms on the one floor. They're okay with 2 bedrooms on one floor and the main bedroom on a different floor. But and then what else have I got? I won't go into it. I've got a number of people under contract right now, so that's good. And so
Good.
I've been able to find some good stuff for people. It's that time of year.
Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. So I've got some properties for sale. I have this one on Wood Park. That one's actually got an accepted offer right now. This one on Cactus, it's 3,000 square feet. It's on an acre. It's gorgeous. I love this home. It's
I was
4
looking at that
bedroom,
yesterday.
4 bath. Pardon?
Mhm. I was looking at it yesterday for some clients, but I don't think they want to be walkable to a village.
Okay. Well, it's actually not far from Royal Bay now. So that's the boat. It takes about 15 minutes. Gorgeous. This one on Nelthorpe, this is the 2 bedroom, 2 bath. That's for sale. I've got this one on Walfred. It's got 3 beds up. It's at $775, and it has a small backyard. I'm waiting for a picture of the backyard, and it's a 4-plex. It's actually half duplex. And then this one just came on 12 days ago. It's listed at 1498. It's 2,640 square feet, and it is 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, and it has gorgeous views. So if you're interested, isn't that lovely?
Was that for sale a few years ago?
No, the neighboring one was.
Okay.
This one's got an accepted
right.
offer. And then this one's it's 841 square feet, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. It's on its own little lot in a Bearland strata, and they actually each have their own water, which is interesting. It's right in Jordan River, right around from the Cold Shoulder Cafe. Got an accepted offer on that. And then this one is a beautiful Airbnb. It's zoned commercial. So if you're interested, it's 3 beds and 2 baths, and it's 1,350 square feet. It has gorgeous views as well.
So we were talking about the Airbnb rules, but Port Renfrew is not subject to the same rules, I guess, and it's allowed to have, and you said it's commercial as well.
And it was purpose built, yeah. And then I have this little unit for sale. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and it's just 700 square feet, and it's right in the heart of Fairfield. So if you're interested, let me know, you guys. Okay. Alrighty. Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm gonna go get on with the day.
Okay.
Busy one.
All right, you guys. Well, our show is on every Thursday morning. If you're interested, please let us know. We're at 9:30 in the morning. You can contact me or Andrew if you have any questions or you want things covered. And Andrew, how do people reach you?
Give me a call. I'm at 250-360-6106. Email me info@andrewplank.com, and check out the website andrewplank.com. Thanks so much.
Okay. And you can reach me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. My number is 250-744-0775. My email is briarhillgroup@gmail.com. You can look at my beautiful listings at briarhillgroup.com, and you look at these shows and more on both our YouTubes and the website, victoriarealestateshow.com. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at realtyteacher_Remax_Victoria or at Briar Hill Group. Thank you very much. Have a great day. And thanks everybody for showing up. It was great to see you, Andrew.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Thanks everybody. And Jen couldn't make it today. She had a client emergency she had to deal with. So we will see her next week.
Yeah. Okay. See you later.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Bye.